and Mayuresh Joshi, who's the Director in Research of MarketSmith.India.com. Gentlemen, good morning. So good to have you with me. Finally, we have some reports saying that both the sides, even US and Iran, have tentatively agreed to a 6-day MOU. But yes, and we have seen the relative cool-off in the oil prices too. Do you think, can the markets be out of the woods then? Mayuresh, I'll start with you. Can we finally say that the worst of the war-led correction that we've seen already in March and some bit of a turnaround that we saw in April, can we say that could be over?
Morning, Lavisha. Morning, Raja. So two things. One, I think the markets have already started reacting a few weeks before. So I think the last 2-3 weeks, the markets have already started reacting in a very positive fashion, assuming that the escalation and the prices that you're probably seeing in West Asia comes to a halt at some point of time. The other leg that is probably holding up the markets is also that earnings have been reasonably decent in the month of March. And even if one assumes, because of the West Asian prices, supply chain issues, the spike in crude that we probably saw, crude derivatives, and some element of second-order inflationary impact and effects, Q1 might be a little bit impacted. But if there is a definite resolution coming through over the next couple of weeks, I think the market will take it in its full stride. And therefore, I think the expectation that the markets are going with that as the de-escalation happens, there's a full de-escalation that comes to with a full cessation. Q1, though expected to be bad, not just for India, I think a lot of economies across the globe, gradual recovery and a full-blown recovery can be seen in the second half. So I think the markets have already reacted, Lavisha, to a large extent. You'll see some element of a relief rally coming through, of that news coming through, of a potential ceasefire culminating into a full-blown ceasefire, and therefore the end of the war at some point of time. And then it will again be the same old grind. Look at earnings, look at sectors, and look at stocks.
And Mayuresh, what's your call for the banking sector? Because, now that we are seeing some, concerns around the lagging deposit growth, do you think that could be a concern going ahead?
Deposit growth was supposed to be one sticky point for the sector as a whole. And in this scenario, I think what really transpires is that the tendency to probably look at more riskier assets to compensate for that in terms of advances growth, which might then lead to some element of slippages coming through and some element of elevated provisioning as we head into the first half. Having said that, I think I completely concur with Raja. I think at MarketSmith India, again, the rating and ranking that PSU banks have been exhibiting have been relatively strong. The other aspect in terms of the legacy deposits that PSU banks carry and the legacy account holders in terms of the CASA mix, I think that provides some element of stable support. All things have been pretty reasonable and decent as well. And though valuations might have moved higher compared to where it was a couple of years back, I think the risk reward selectively is still getting favored by PSU banks. Outside that, our opinion also suggests that select mid-private sector banks can continue doing well because they've got a lower base to comprehend with. And at the same time, I think their control in terms of the customer base that they've probably got ensures the asset diversification that they have and the balance sheet diversification that is probably needed. So again, not too gung-ho on large private banks at this juncture, but selectively on mid-private and PSU banks.
Mid and small cap space are a better bet than large caps in the current market environment, because we've seen largely a good March quarter performance from both of these pockets, but we have seen a good amount of rally as well from the last 2 months. Do you think there is more fuel to this particular rally going ahead?
Yes, select mid cap and small caps will continue doing well, because I think that is one spectrum of the market where the earnings hold up well, and they have held up well so far in Q4. And certain niche stocks within the small and the mid-cap universe, which have key operating areas and niche product offerings, might continue doing well as the environment probably improves. So our take is that it has to be a mix of small caps, mid-caps, and large caps to diversify your portfolio and also to ensure that the blended returns that you probably get do not get impacted if one section of the market or one spectrum of the markets gets hit by earnings. For large caps in particular, Lavisha, I think certain pockets within that space have delivered decent set of numbers and might continue delivering so as we head into the next week.
Okay, Hindalco for you. Coming to you, Mayuresh, for the metal basket. We have already seen that the sector has been largely an outperformer this year. Do you think what can sustain the rally going ahead now that we've seen aluminium prices also at 4-year high levels?
So again, I think Hindalco has given a phenomenal performance, and looking at the way the aluminium market is probably poised and the guidance that the management has probably given, they're guiding for an even better Q1 as we speak. And therefore, as demand comes back slowly and steadily across the globe, inventory levels that have been diminished, as they get replenished, somewhere down the line, I think aluminium prices should start moving up. And therefore, integrated players like Hindalco should continue doing well. Even for the ferrous players, I think the expectation largely is that end product prices will move higher because input costs primarily have moved higher. And therefore, I think in tandem, or to keep in check how the input cost prices have moved up, end product prices moving higher, and expectations of domestic demand still expected to continue remaining strong. And all the steel companies probably having backward integration in terms of producing green steel, which is going to be the new mantra, specifically when it comes to overseas operations, including the European zone and the US and the Latin markets as well. I think the companies are well poised as we speak. So I think generally, we like the space. And along with that, we also like the mining companies, because our belief is that the mining companies are poised for greater growth in the next few quarters and years. With clearances coming through for mines, added operations, more volumes coming through, and the general consensus in terms of demand coming back, remaining strong locally and coming back on a global scale, might mean prices also improve, which gives them the edge in terms of operating leverage getting paid out. Structurally, the sector looks poised for a reasonable amount of earnings growth and momentum as we head into the finance.
Away for Ashok Leyland. Mayuresh, auto stocks have seen a good rally in the past 2 months, but now with the rising inflation concerns, do you see any impact on demand going ahead?
Partially and marginally, yes, because I think Maruti has already taken price hikes with input costs going higher. And I think a few of other companies might also be taking that step, in my opinion. Again, I think as the-escalation happens, I think a large part of the inflationary impact should start cooling off. And therefore, second half is somewhere the big picture argument in terms of the structural demand for autos might come back and continue doing so. Having said that, I think the first couple of quarters in this financial year might be a little bit sticky for the sector as a whole. Along with that, I think the expectations in terms of inflationary pressures and also the El Nino effect of what we are speaking about, if that probably plays out, I think that can have some effect on the demand dynamics going forward as well. And therefore, in our opinion, I think auto ancillaries are a tad bit better placed for two reasons. One, I think in terms of the replacement market, where margins are also relatively higher, I think that acts as an actual hedge if the OEM market probably slows down a tad bit. And the second element in terms of the diversification that auto ancillaries have done without creating a large part of leverage onto their balance sheets, as far as the EV agnostic portfolio is concerned, I think that is also probably going to aid them as we head into the next few quarters. So again, in our opinion, at MarketSmith India, I think looking at rating rankings for the sector as a whole, auto ancillaries, I think, seem to be a tad bit better placed than the core OEM stocks.
Yes, let's move on now. Like we were discussing about biodynamics, and Raja was talking about that the structure looks weak from here on. Mayuresh, the entire defense sector, it has seen a good re-rating. But do you think the rally has come ahead of the fundamentals, given that execution has been a lag despite the record high orders that the companies are seeing?
So, Ravish, I think the problem with the markets is that you cannot analyze defense stocks on a quarter-on-quarter basis because we have structural long-term projects and contracts. So structurally, does the story remain intact for the next 4 to 5 years? Absolutely, yes. Are there decent order books with decent margins in terms of revenue visibility over the next 4 to 5 years? Absolutely, yes. Is there going to be an execution miss in a quarter or two every 4 or 5 quarters? Absolutely, yes. And we've seen that historically in the past as well. So I think there are typical quarters where I think there will be a lag, either in terms of execution not going through as planned or the receivables not coming through in terms of customer offtake probably not happening for some reason or the other. And therefore, structurally, I think the story remains intact. However, I think the execution miss that probably happens is something that one really has to protect with. as a structure or as a portfolio positioning, I think we do not own any defense stocks at this juncture. So the story looks very, very attractive. Our own sense is that the numbers are getting penciled in terms of an FY27 exit to the fullest, and therefore valuations probably seem to be accounting for the best in numbers to probably come through. So I think we'll wait for our opportunities in terms of declines on the stock making bases at lower levels and then probably.
Yes, we've seen all of these AC stocks did see a little bit of an action during the summer season. But Mayuresh, with the kind of copper and crude linked costs rising already sharply, do you think the June quarter is going to be even more challenging going ahead?
It will. And I think that is something that we'll have to contend with, because the volumes will definitely go up for AC makers with the intense heat and the heat waves that we are probably seeing. The inventory levels probably will start depleting as well, with AC sales expected to remain robust as we exit Q1. But with input costs going higher and a complete pass-through not completely able to come through for a lot of managements, I think somewhere that margin hit will take place, which will be even more prominent in Q1. So let's see how things.